Clipper Audiobooks presents an unabridged recording of The Boys in the Boat by Daniel James Brown, narrated by Edward Herrmann. W.F. House presents an unabridged recording of The Boys in the Boat by Daniel James Brown, narrated by Edward Herrmann.
Prologue. In a sport like this, hard work, not much glory, but still popular in every century, well, there must be some beauty which ordinary men can't see, but extraordinary men do. George Yeoman Pocock. This book was born on a cold, drizzly, late spring day when I clambered over the split-rail cedar fence that surrounds my pasture and made my way through wet woods to the modest frame house where Joe Rantz lay dying. I knew only two things about Joe when I knocked on his daughter Judy's door that day. I knew that in his mid-70s he had single-handedly hauled a number of cedar logs down a mountain, then hand-split the rails and cut the posts and installed all 2,224 linear feet of the pasture fence I had just climbed over, a task so Herculean I shake my head in wonderment whenever I think about it. And I knew that he had been one of 9 young men from the state of Washington, farm boys, fishermen, and loggers, who shocked both the rowing world and Adolf Hitler by winning the gold medal in 8-oared rowing at the 1936 Olympics. When Judy opened the door and ushered me into her cozy living room, Joe was stretched out in a recliner with his feet up, all 6'3" of him. He was wearing a gray sweatsuit and bright red, down-filled booties. He had a thin white beard. His skin was sallow, his eyes puffy, results of the congestive heart failure from which he was dying. An oxygen tank stood nearby. A fire was popping and hissing in the wood stove. The walls were covered with old family photos. A glass display case, crammed with dolls and porcelain horses and rose-patterned china, stood against the far wall. Rain flecked a window that looked out into the woods. Jazz tunes from the 30s and 40s were playing quietly on the stereo. Judy introduced me, and Joe offered me an extraordinarily long, thin hand. Judy had been reading one of my books aloud to Joe, and he wanted to meet me and talk about it. As a young man, he had, by extraordinary coincidence, been a friend of Angus Hay, Jr., the son of a person central to the story of that book. So we talked about that for a while. Then the conversation began to turn to his own life. His voice was reedy, fragile.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?